Is it just me, or is the platforming genre going through an awesome resurgence at the moment? I mean, this year has definitely been packed with a ton of good ones. Despite Nintendo codifying a few time-tested formulas, it's not like they're that easy to get right, and Microsoft of all companies has been trying since they entered the gaming business. Now, I'm not saying Big M needs a mascot platforming character under its belt, but the Xbox One could use another hit exclusive, and Playful Games has definitely put up a title in an attempt to make that happen. There are just a lot of jumps that people will need to be willing to make to turn that into a reality. Super Lucky's tale is the story of the titular young fox who dreams of joining his sister Lyra among the ranks of heroes known as the Guardians. On her way home from her most recent adventure to recover the Book of Ages, a tome of some apparently awesome power, Lyra is tailed by the Kitty Litter, a group of quirky cats led by their father Jinx. A struggle occurs, prompting the book to start sucking everyone in for some reason, and Lucky manages to push his sister out of the way before the same happens to her. Now, trapped inside the pages of the magical book, it's up to him to right wrongs and prevent everything inside from being rewritten by the bad guys. I feel like I say this a lot now considering the last few games I've reviewed, but the plot is simple because, you know, it's a kid's game, and that's going to factor into everything later, but also, yeah, I dig it. Everyone is chipper as can be despite being accosted by this literal fat cat and his mini-boss squad. These golems just want to get their bodies back, these yeti just want to wrap presents, these worms just want to farm with their tiny little nubs. Are they striking? Yeah, there's a lot of that in the game. And the antagonists? They're nominal at best because there's really no animosity coming from any of them. And sure, this is a kid's game akin to Mario and the litter isn't expecting you to win, but this really seems like some kind of weird vulpine feline playtime thing, and it's funny to watch. Gameplay makes the same attempt to match the Mario pedigree and is very solid, but doesn't always take the same strides to stay there. This is a 3D platformer, so you get your requisite run and jump from place to place, collect coins, lives and hit points gameplay. The ultimate goal, aside from the obvious one of taking down the cool cats, is to collect the major thing, in this case Lucky Clovers, of which there are 4 per level spread across 4 worlds. There's one for collecting 300 coins, you get one for spelling Lucky's name, a secret clover is acquired in different ways depending on the level, and there's the easy one at the end after nailing the main objective. There are also extras gained from solving puzzles that are pretty easy, though a couple of the sliding statue ones did stump me for a couple of minutes. There's a lot of individual variety in the stages, from sort of free-roaming levels to side-scrolling stuff to even a top-down one, but the overall structure of them leans more toward the courses of Super Mario 3D World compared to the wide-open sandboxes of, say, Super Mario Odyssey. And just like in any other good core-style 3D platformers, what you need to do to get every clover in a stage is well laid out most of the time, so in the hands of a competent player, getting all 4 in one play is generally a fun exercise. I say generally because there are specific elements in this game that can drain a bit of the fun. Lucky doesn't jump very high or far, and even his double jump does little more than delay his descent and give you time to control your aerial positioning during the drop. And you'll need all the control you can get since there are times when the camera is just not gonna help you. Most of the time, positioning is fine. You get a very good view of the level and the camera moves slightly to point you in the direction you're heading, but that need to show you as much of the stage as possible places the camera at a level that makes landing on certain surfaces and any flying enemies difficult, especially on the top-down level. Now, that really wouldn't be as much of a problem if you had free control of the camera, but you don't in most situations, and even the dedicated look button only gives you a horizon-level view of the course. You can't even look behind yourself. Even with those issues, the stages are built well, seemingly around them, and the times I had to adjust the camera angle numbered in the single digits. The boss fights are also well crafted, matching the alternating defend-attack pacing of other good platformers, but the defense sections rely way too much on dense fireball patterns and don't push you to use all of Lucky's techniques. I'd knock the inability to gain more than 3 heart stock, but the game is pretty darn easy, and there's a liberal distribution of hearts in each level. Aside from the camera, the biggest faux pas might be locking the final boss behind a quota of 80 out of 99 clovers, but like I said, they're really easy to obtain, and I was able to fight Jinx after beating the first course of the last world. If you're looking for anything special for collecting them all, or any reason why the game keeps a running tally of how many coins you have other than because, you are wasting your time. It's freaking Bubsy all over again. The art direction in this game is solid, with bright colors and jovial characters, and that leads to some pretty clean graphics, though for some reason it only runs at 30 frames per second on the Xbox One, so unless you have an Xbox One X or PC, you're not really going to get a 60 frames per second experience that's really helpful in these types of games. It's also unfortunate that Lucky being a fox means players may think of Tails from the Sonic franchise, and that derivative nature permeates a lot of the game. The background characters aren't memorable enough, and I say that coming out of this game loving the worms. So everything hinges on the main ones. The kitty litter all have unique and easily recognizable personalities, and there's a defeat scene I won't spoil that made me bust out laughing. But yeah, what else can I say about the design? The music is decent, but not really memorable, and the Simlish voices are either bored or overly excited. Everything just fits the mold of cutesy platformer too well, like an amorphous cuteness blob. So yeah, Super Lucky's Tale is another 3D platformer. In fact, it's simple enough that after the Kirby games, you could call it baby's second platformer. It's so good at borrowing from other more prominent games that it doesn't really gain its own identity. At the same time, many of the characters have exuberant personalities that could make players look forward to seeing more of them. The gameplay is standard, yet there's a ton of variety in the scenarios. Every level is well constructed and shot in a specific way that it's to a fault, where you have very little control over one of the most important elements in gaming, the window to the world. Hell, this is a full price game retailing at half the price, and you get it on both PC and Xbox One. The game is just full of trade-offs, and some of them could be straight up turn-offs. I like it, but I know this is still a game most people would want to wait for a sale on, or just get something else. I mean, this game will always be there, waiting for you at the store, staring for your approval.